You keep praying about it. You whisper it in the quiet moments. You cry about it when no one sees. You bring it before God again and again. But nothing changes. Not really. The tension is still there. The distance is still there. The same argument keeps coming back, wearing a different outfit but carrying the same pain. And deep down, you're starting to wonder, why isn't this prayer working? You love God. You believe in marriage. You're trying to do things the right way. So why does your relationship still feel stuck? Here is the truth that many Christian couples never want to face. You are praying about something that God is waiting for you to fix. And the mistake is so subtle, so common, that most couples never even see it. You are praying for change in your spouse, instead of allowing change in yourself. Let that sink in. You ask God to soften their heart. You ask God to make them more loving, more patient, more understanding, more respectful. You ask God to fix their attitude, to correct their behavior, to open their eyes. And while you are praying all of that, God is looking at you, waiting, not ignoring your prayer, not rejecting your prayer, but redirecting it, because the transformation you are asking for must begin inside you. And this is where many Christian marriages get stuck. You both pray, you both believe, you both want a better marriage, but each of you is secretly waiting for the other person to go first. You want them to apologize first. You want them to change first. You want them to love better first. And so you pray, not as an act of surrender, but as a quiet attempt to get God to move them, without you having to move yourself. And it feels spiritual. It sounds right, but it keeps you trapped. Because prayer was never meant to replace obedience. Prayer was never meant to excuse inaction. Prayer was never meant to shift responsibility. It was meant to align your heart with God's will, not bend God's will toward your comfort. Think about this. When was the last time you prayed, God, show me where I am wrong. God, break my pride. God, teach me how to love even when it is not returned. God, help me respond with grace when I feel disrespected. God, change me, even if they never change. That is a different kind of prayer. And it is a dangerous one. Because that prayer will not leave you the same. Most people avoid that prayer, not because they don't love God, but because they still love being right. They still love protecting their ego. They still want justice more than they want peace. And so the cycle continues. You hurt each other, then you pray, but instead of letting God refine your heart, you wait for Him to fix your spouse. Days pass, weeks pass, years pass, and the marriage slowly becomes a place of quiet frustration. Not because God is absent, but because obedience is missing. Here is something hard to hear. Your spouse is not your biggest problem. Your unwillingness to grow is. Yes, they have flaws. Yes, they make mistakes. Yes, they hurt you. But you are responsible for how you respond. You are responsible for the condition of your own heart. And God will hold you accountable. Not for what they did, but for what you did in return. This is where true transformation begins. Not when they change, but when you do. Not when they apologize, but when you release the need to win. Not when they become perfect, but when you choose love anyway. That is what makes a marriage powerful. Not perfection, but two people choosing Christ over and over again, even when it is hard, even when it is unfair, even when it costs something. Because real love always costs something. It costs your pride. It costs your need to be right. It costs your desire to keep score. And that is exactly why many people avoid it. They want a godly marriage without a crucified self. But you cannot have resurrection without death. Something in you must die for your marriage to live. Your pride must die. Your stubbornness must die. Your need to always defend yourself must die. And in its place, God builds something new. Patience, kindness, grace, understanding, strength. The kind of love that does not depend on feelings, but on commitment. And this is what prayer is supposed to produce. Not just changed circumstances, but a changed heart. Imagine what would happen if you stopped praying for your spouse to become better and started becoming better yourself. Imagine if you became more patient without waiting for them to deserve it. Imagine if you became more respectful without demanding it first. Imagine if you became more loving without keeping score. Something would shift, not just in you, but in the entire atmosphere of your marriage. Because change is contagious, and someone has to go first. Why not you? You might be thinking, but what if they never change? What if I give more, and they keep taking? What if I become better, and nothing improves? Here is the truth. You are not responsible for the outcome. You are responsible for your obedience. God never asked you to control your spouse. He asked you to reflect His love. And His love is not conditional. It does not say, I will love you when you fix yourself. It says, I will love you, even as you are being changed. That does not mean you accept abuse. That does not mean you tolerate disrespect without boundaries. But it does mean you stop using your spouse's flaws as an excuse to ignore your own. It means you stop hiding behind prayer while avoiding responsibility, because deep down, you already know what needs to change. You feel it every time you raise your voice, every time you shut down emotionally, every time you choose silence instead of communication, every time you hold on to resentment. You know, and God knows. The question is, what will you do about it? Will you keep praying the same safe prayers, hoping something magically shifts, or will you step into the uncomfortable place where real growth begins? Because that is where marriages are transformed. Not in comfort, not in convenience, but in surrender. Surrender is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is choosing peace when you have the right to argue. It is choosing forgiveness when you have the right to hold a grudge. It is choosing love when everything in you wants to withdraw. And yes, it is hard. It goes against your instincts. It challenges your ego, but it aligns you with God. And when you align with God, everything begins to change. Maybe not overnight, maybe not dramatically, but steadily, quietly, deeply. You become softer without becoming weaker. You become wiser without becoming passive. You become stronger in the ways that actually matter. And over time, your spouse will notice. They may not say it immediately. They may not respond the way you expect. But they will feel it. Because a changed heart cannot be hidden. And even if they take time to catch up, you will no longer be stuck. Because your peace will not depend on their behavior. Your joy will not depend on their response. Your identity will not depend on their validation. It will be rooted in God. And that changes everything. This is the shift most Christian couples never make. They stay focused on the other person. They stay stuck in cycles of blame. They keep praying, but they never truly surrender. And so they miss the miracle that could have happened inside them. Don't make that mistake. Don't let your marriage become a place of repeated prayers with no personal transformation. Don't let pride quietly destroy something sacred. You have more power than you think. Not the power to control your spouse, but the power to control yourself. The power to choose love. The power to choose humility. The power to choose growth. And those choices, when made consistently, can change everything. So the next time you pray, pause and ask yourself, am I asking God to change them? Or am I inviting God to change me? Because one of those prayers keeps you stuck, and the other sets you free. Your marriage does not need perfect people. It needs willing hearts. Hearts that are open. Hearts that are teachable. Hearts that are surrendered. Be that person, even if it feels lonely at first. Even if it feels unfair. Even if it feels unnoticed. Because God sees, God honors obedience, and God works through the one who is willing to be changed. So stop waiting, stop delaying, stop praying the same prayer without changing the way you live. This is your moment to grow, to mature, to love differently, to lead differently, to become the kind of spouse you have been praying for. Because maybe, just maybe, the answer to your prayer is not sitting across from you. It is sitting within you. Waiting, ready, one decision away. Choose it, and watch what God begins to do.